Seriously, make that one change. Go check your camera settings after this episode. If you've been shooting in 30 frames per second without thinking about it, this one change alone will noticeably elevate your footage. So frame rate. So frame rate is how many individual images your camera captures per second. And it has a really massive effect on the overall feel of your footage. So not just the technical quality, but like the emotional quality too. So if you've ever watched a video and you've thought, this feels video-y, like it feels like a news broadcast or maybe like a soap opera or something, it just doesn't feel very cinematic, it's most likely because it was filmed at 30 or 60 frames per second. There's nothing technically wrong with, say, 30 frames per second. It's clean, it's nice, but it has this hyper real quality that feels a little more like newsy broadcast footage than cinema. So if you're looking for that sort of more artsy look, you know, that you see a lot of in long form videos on YouTube and things like that, then you're going to want to switch that down to 24 frames per second. That's the standard for film and most high-end television shows. So your, I don't know, I'm just going to name some shows. So Breaking Bad, your Yellowstone, The Pit, all of that stuff, that's filmed in 24. It's not filmed in 30. And that's the major reason, outside of the lenses and the cameras and stuff that they use, but that's a big part of the reason why it looks the way it does. So at 24 frames per second, each frame captures just the right amount of natural blur as subjects move through the frame, and your brain somehow interprets that as movie. I don't really know the science of it any deeper than that. Some cameras will show you 23.98 or 23.976. That's fine. Just pick whatever's closest to 24 on your camera. And most cameras these days allow you to adjust the frame rate. Even your iPhone, you can go in and adjust the frame rate to 24. Now, there is a use case for 60 frames per second, and that's slow motion. So if you're filming something you know you're going to slow down in the edit, you know, like an athlete like crossing the finish line, or like confetti falling, or a crowd like bursting into applause or something like that, you know, 60 frames per second is a good setting to switch over to, because then when you slow it down in post, it's going to look smooth. It's going to look really pretty. The difference is if you took 24 frames per second footage and then tried to slow that down, it's going to look real choppy. There's not enough frames for it to work with to stretch out. It's taking 24 frames and then having to stretch that out. And that's why you get that choppiness. But when it has more frames per second to work with, you get a smoother slow motion.